Welcome everyone to yet another edition of our FIFA's Football World Cup special Carnival 2014 Brazil. I'm Shivani Gupta. That's our big story, but also on the show, we meet some very special budding footballers from our country who are on their way to Brazil to be flag bearers during the mega event. But first up, the debate over wives and girlfriends accompanying players during the World Cup is heating up once again. While football legend Pelé is all for normal intimacy, managers of England, Mexico, Bosnia and Portugal want the players only to concentrate on the tournament. Before we get to our guests, let's take a look at this story that we've compiled.
England manager Roy Hodgson wants his team to focus only and only on football. Portugal has barred its players from socializing during the World Cup. Mexico coach Miguel Herrera has slapped a sex ban on his players for the duration of the World Cup. And ditto with Bosnia. Is this their success mantra for the tournament? While the world wonders what role do wives and girlfriends, or WaGs as they are called, play in winning or losing a tournament, it could be a pity to not see some of the most glamorous women with their men in Brazil. That's Irina Shayk without Cristiano Ronaldo. That's Christine Blackley without Frank Lampard. No Ana Seladic to support her man Edin Dzeko. The jury is out on this, but football legend Pelé has made his thoughts clear a long time ago. He sees no harm in wives and girlfriends being with the players. In other words, sex is not the issue, but the pursuit of physical intimacy with other women could be. There are of course other teams that don't mind their players having their families around them. So Melissa Sata can cheer for USA while she is with her boyfriend Prince Boateng. Colombian singer Shakira is allowed to be with her partner Gerard Piqué. The debate on physical intimacy and whether it can impact performance has been going on for quite some time. Should players follow a hermit lifestyle during the World Cup? For now, pundits can say whatever they want. The results will be out after the final has been played. Sports Bureau, headlines today.
So does staying away from your partners and not having sex during a mega event really help you in better performances? That's our talking point today. Eric Benny, former India manager, is joining me in the studio. Our consulting editor Boria Majumdar joins us from Kolkata. And we also have a very special guest, Roy Hay, a noted author, joining us from Australia. Eric, you're a previous manager of the Indian team. Now this is something that typically a manager will be concerned with. What are your views? As a manager, would you impose such a ban?
Well, there's no harm if the players want to have their partners with them during this event, but the whole logic here is completely different. These players have been performing for their clubs. Now, they've been away from the national team squad. There hasn't been a role where they've been gelled together and all that stuff. Now, let's take an example about Spain as a country. Now, you've got players who played for Barcelona, you've got players who played for Atletico Madrid, you've got players who play Real Madrid and the other small clubs. Now, these guys have been following what their coaches and the managers have told them, like, all right, we got to win this game against Barca, we got to win this game against Madrid. Now when a coach gets his team together, now these are different individuals. Now he's got to work with the team. It's all about team bonding, it's about discipline, it's about creating that oneness together, even if they come from different clubs, but now they are playing for the country, which is the most critical one. Therefore, he wants to get the best out of them and he doesn't want to lose this opportunity. The goal is World Cup, right? It's not a normal league.
So you're saying single-minded focus and team bonding is really the reason why you would impose such a ban, not really the physical aspect of it.
No. I mean, the whole objective is winning the World Cup and getting there and proving to the world, right? And if the wives and the girlfriends know that they're going there for the right cause, I don't see a reason why if they're not there with them, it shouldn't really change anything.
Boria, what's your view on this? Because, this debate kind of heats up before every mega event. Football generally sees, a ban on WaGs because they kind of looked at as distractions. What do you have to say?
my view is slightly different. I mean, even if the managers say or the coaches say, will the players listen? I mean, I can tell you, being an academic from past experience, and there's a lot of research on the subject around the world. The single most important item after every Olympics that you find is a condom. So will the players listen to all this? Or does it really matter? I mean, if you go and see performances, the testosterone levels of these players, they are obviously at a higher level than a normal individual. So I don't think there is any definitive research yet. I have published a lot of this stuff in my journals, whether sexual activity or physical intimacy is actually important or does it prove detrimental. There is no definitive finding. It is upon individuals and upon particular coaches. On the one hand, there is this idea that perhaps if the player under more pressure, physical intimacy will reduce the pressure. On the other hand, people say that they'll get too exhausted. So you've got to take a call. Individual managers will have to take a call. Maybe, Shivani, if you're a betting man, put your money after the World Cup. If Brazil wins, Scolari is in favor, then you say, okay, it doesn't really matter. If Mexico wins, you say from now on, we will not allow sex during a mega event.
Right. Well, that's something that our viewers can bet upon maybe. I'm not really a betting woman. But Roy Hay, what's your view as an author of the subject of the sport? What do players feel about this?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the question.
Roy, I was trying to ask you, in your interaction with players, where do you think the players stand?
I'm sorry, your voice is breaking up and I'm not hearing you clearly. Could you please repeat the question?
Yes, Roy, I'm going to try once again. We're discussing, players being allowed to be with their wives and girlfriends during a mega tournament. And there are teams that have imposed bans on that. As far as the players are concerned, where do you think they stand? What's the players' perspective on this?
I think it much depends on the chemistry of the various teams that are involved. I don't think you have one rule that fits all. I can imagine in some circumstances the players would feel much more comfortable if they were in an environment which was closer to the one that they were used to.
Yeah.
But in other circumstances, you would find that you get a better performance from teams if they were separated from their normal environment and focused entirely on what the particular purpose, particular competition they were involved in.
All right, Eric, let me come to you. You mentioned about, having a single-minded focus. If you talk about a 30-day World Cup, it's really no big deal. There shouldn't be a lot of eyebrows raised or hue and cry on this, because after all, you're going there, as you said, with a single-minded focus, and any player would really want to win that World Cup first. And then, these players are used to being away from families.
Yeah. See, the good part is if they can create a difference out there. If you're going for a World Cup, you have a reason to go there, right? The objective is making sure that you're doing what you're asked to do. And now if a coach or a manager asks you to do something, I think there's a reason and a logic behind it. The whole objective here is for the development of the game and for the players. The country needs to look good. They need to look better. I mean, it's about the World Cup. It doesn't get bigger than this. So I'm sure they can manage and pull this off.
All right, so would you bet on Brazil or Portugal then? Two teams on different sides of the divide.
Brazil all the way.
Because of this or because of their team?
Both.
All right, Boya Majumdar, Roy Hay, Eric Benny, thanks a lot for joining us. Of course, we'll keep a track of the performances of the team, and let's see if there's a connection between physical intimacy and action on the pitch. Let's take a look at all the other top stories from Brazil in the build-up to the World Cup. Brazil striker Neymar suffered a minor ankle injury while training with the national squad in Rio de Janeiro. The injury doesn't look bad, but he was taken off the pitch for some treatment. Neymar, though, returned hours later for some light training. Brazil, remember, take on Croatia in the opener on June 12th. There was similar news from the English camp as well, as Steven Gerrard did not take part in full training because of a slight groin injury. The skipper was seen practicing away from the squad. However, there seems to be no doubt about his availability for Saturday's opener for England against Italy. But while Gerrard was away, the rest of English squad took some time off to see the sights around Rio. Stars Danny Welbeck, Daniel Sturridge and Jack Wilshere were at School Ground where a local group was performing. Sturridge also shook a leg with the kids. And Brazil's fiercest rivals have finally touched down in Samba City. South American giants Uruguay arrived in Belo Horizonte on late Monday night together with Argentina, and Lionel Messi and his side will take on Bosnia in their first encounter on June 15. For Uruguay, they kickstart their campaign against Costa Rica on June 14. The E Santos Cafe has a special place in the hearts of Brazilians. It's not just a place to meet friends over drinks, it's also a place that celebrates football and has a special place for the king of them all, Pelé.
Santos, a football club, a breeding ground for budding footballers. And for many, the perfect launchpad for youngsters into the big world of competitive football. It was in this club many years ago that a young sprightly kid honed his skill to later wow the world. The kid grew into a man. His name, Edson Arantes do Nascimento. His mates, friends and family call him Pelé. And the world called him the king. But Santos is also about a special place. Its cafe, the E Santa Cafe. A place to meet, greet, celebrate and chat. The cafe is now a major rendezvous with Santos supporters. And when friends get together, stories for the past delight the present.
Yes. Very emotion, very much.
This cafe became a focal point when a documentary was being made on Santos. No surprises for guessing who is the center of attraction in the many memorabilia that delight the visitor. Not to mention the music, the posters, the memories that this cafe carries of Santos and Pelé. Sports Bureau, headlines today.
Welcome back. Now it's time to have a very special chat with two of our very special guests. Jason Moses, who's just 12-year-old, and Mihir Batra, who's 15, joining us in our studio with their footballs and with their jerseys, all ready to take that flight to Brazil. Jason, you're 12. You're the youngest winner of this competition, which was held by Adidas, and you won that. So how does it feel to be going to the World Cup?
For any football fan, it's a dream to go for the World Cup, and you never, as a child, you never think of going for a World Cup. It's just a dream unfulfilled. But I actually fulfilled it, and I am living the dream right now.
You're living the dream.
Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant. That's a great way to start at 12 years old, and we wish you all the best. We wish you represent India one day at the World Cup. But Mihir, tell us a little bit about what you had to do to win this competition.
Like, it was in Ambedkar Stadium on 4th of May, and there were 5-6 cones kept there. We had to dribble around them, and they were taking our time. And after that, there was a goal. We had to shoot in it, and there was a dummy inside it, so we had to place the ball in the net, and they would take our time. So our zone cumulative time was taken, and then we had a quiz round in which there were many laptops kept there, and we had to answer MCQ questions on
your football knowledge.
Yes, on the World Cup.
Okay.
And so after that, they gave us a break, and they told us that after an hour or so they would tell us the results, the top 30 people who would get selected. And then after that I got to know that me and Jason were selected, and then we were very excited.
So how seriously do you take your football? How many hours of the day do you play football, practice football?
Early morning and evening, 2-3 hours in the morning and 2-3 hours in the evening.
So 6 hours in the day. Jason, same for you?
Yeah, easily.
And this is what you want to do when you grow up, right?
Yep.
Be a footballer.
Yep.
And you're not worried about the fact that football is not very popular in India?
No.
You will give it your
Yeah.
all till
Yeah,
as
level
long as
best.
it takes.
Yeah.
I would go abroad.
Yeah.
You would go
Me too,
abroad,
of
so you
course.
already have plans to go abroad for training, etc. What are your plans?
No, it's not like that, but I would go finish my 12th and then go abroad, give trials for clubs.
Which training facility do you want to go to?
My favorite club, Chelsea, so I'll go.
All right, we wish you all the best. We hope that these young stars take in all that they can at the World Cup, and this experience helps them in motivating them to play this sport even further. Jason and Mihir, all the best. Congratulations and have a great time in Brazil. These young kids, together with 4 others from Mumbai and Bangalore, are going to be flag bearers for key matches.